You have to look at the facts. Okay, here we go. Here we go. YouTube, you have to look at the facts. Literally, a musician, some of these musicians are in big, big, deep contracts where these producers and these lawyers, they don't care. They still have to perform. Figure out some way, but we want to see your face on the screen. As well as when I got to talking about, you have national organizations like the National Basketball Association, the National Football Association, the Baseball League. All these leagues, they are leagues because they are formed as unions. And the unions in these leagues protect the players, and they protect the players and their contracts. So therefore, when there's a government shutdown going on, the players are still able to get employed, able to get the money, and able to take care of their families. Okay, you guys get what I'm saying? That's how unions work. But guess who else? Guess who does not like unions? The current administration in office. He does not support unions. So during times of conflict, what will happen is that a lot of these unions will initiate a boycott against the current administration. But they don't, it's not a protest. There's a difference between a protest and there's a difference between a boycott. There's a difference between a protest and there's a difference between a boycott. When it is a boycott, it is on a national legal government. We have the legal forms, we have the judges, we have the money to back you off. That if you do not do what we say, you will not receive our services. Now, there's a difference. Because if it's a boycott, we're talking about services. We're actually talking about community and government services. Okay? We're talking about businesses. We're talking about organizations. We're actually talking about people's lives. Now, if it is a protest, it usually is anger and frustration on a small scale that turns into a bigger scale. Now, usually if it's a boycott, it's usually on a local level. But when it becomes on a national level, a national boycott, that means different legal organizations from different cities come together with their lawyers and as well as other government officials, as well as other government judges. They actually have the evidence and the documents to back them up on what they're saying and what they want. They want increased wages. They want health insurance. They want more overtime pay. Do you guys know what I'm saying? It's the difference between a protest and it's the difference between a boycott. I just want to know what it is that you are trying to get us to understand. Okay, great. Okay. Linda, thank you, Miss Linda. How you doing, Miss Linda? Okay, so what I want you guys to understand is that pretty much you have to think about things on a local level, how it applies to you, and also how it applies on a nationwide level, and not to get any kind of fear or you took away all my people, Miss Linda. How to get this on a local level versus a nationwide global level. So yes, it is a global crisis. Okay. It is a global crisis. But Miss Linda, guess what? Are you in Texas or are you in Florida? You're in Texas. You're in Texas right now. The state of Texas is number 2 in cases of the highest positive rates of coronavirus. So I want you to know what I'm really trying to get you to understand, Miss Linda, in Texas, is that coronavirus is nothing to be scared about. What I want you to know, Miss Linda, in Texas, is that number 1, you have to go to the doctor, to the emergency room to get evaluated if you are not feeling well. Especially if you're in big states, big cities. Now, New York is good because New York has already been going through COVID-19 for the past 6 months already. Jersey, DC, Philadelphia, we've already been through this for the last 6 months, which is what happens. every single year. The flu usually hits Texas and Georgia and the South last before it goes up east. That's usually what happens. What I am trying to get you guys to understand is there's nothing to be afraid upon unless you show symptoms that you are not breathing correctly. Thank you, cousin Linda in Fort Worth. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Melvin. How you doing? Good to see you again, Melvin. Good. Yeah. So if you feel like you have symptoms and you don't feel well, or something is a little bit different, are you pretty much what's going on, Miss cousin Linda? You already know. Okay, Linda. What's really going on is people they're feeling different. They've never experienced this kind of flu before. This is something that's never happened in people's life. This is a little bit different. It's a little bit stronger flu, and people may mistake this is a normal when it's not normal. It's a little bit more. It's a different strain, and they may think, oh, this is normal, or oh my God, I'm gonna die. I need to go to church. Well, it's good to go to the pastor and pray, which is what I did, but at the same time, you still need to get professional medical advice. So it's good, especially down south. What are people going to do? They're not going to go to the doctor first. They're going to go to church first before they go to the doctor, especially down south. They're going to call their pastor, they're going to call their sister, they're going to call their friend, and they're not going to call one single nurse to figure out what's going on, especially down the south. They're going to say, I'm going to pray about it. It'll be okay. Oh, I'll take some lemon water. It'll be okay. Oh, I'll take some Advil. It'll be okay. Oh, I'll take a NyQuil and go to sleep and it'll be okay. When that's not the fact, you actually need to get emergency medical assistance because this flu bug is a little bit stronger. You think, oh, I'll take this little natural remedy. Oh, I'll take a little bit of honey. Put some honey in my water. I'll be okay. I'll get over this. No, it's not a natural. It's a little bit different. There you go. Yes, Mick, especially, yes, thank you, Melvin. My iPhone is about to turn off. Thank you, Melvin. You understand. It's a little bit stronger, especially down south when people like to make their own medicine. Especially down south, they like to make their own medicine. They don't like to listen to their doctor. They do not like to listen to the doctor. We don't want to hear the doctor. Okay. We don't want to listen to the doctor. I don't want to listen to the doctor. I can do what I want to do. Okay. It's I'm gonna give you guys 10 minutes because I gotta work on this application, this job application. Again, especially what is it, 12:30 right now? I gotta work on this job application. Especially down south. Then that's when people like to take things into their own hands, especially in Texas and especially in Los Angeles. Oh my God, in Los Angeles, they like to do everything natural. Even the Black community in Los Angeles. Oh, we're going to take a little bit uh, of kale juice. Oh, I'm just going to drink a little bit of kombucha and I'll be okay. No, this is a different virus. Kombucha will not help with this virus, with COVID-19. Kombucha will not work. Aspirin will not help. NyQuil will not help. As I was talking to you guys yesterday. Okay, so yeah, it is a little bit different. I'm gonna get it here on my Android. Thank you, Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Battle First Aid Responder Services, LaQueen Battle. Okay, okay. So it's a little bit stranger and it's a little bit different. Okay, so kombucha will not work. Okay, kombucha will not work for COVID-19. Kombucha will not work. Neither will lemon juice water. Neither will lemon water. Lemon juice that will not work. Okay, so again, especially down south, and especially there's a lot more older people in down south, especially in Florida. They do not want to go to the hospital. They want to stay at home and relax because you have a very, very higher population of older people in Florida. So, what will people in nursing homes do? What will people in Florida do? They will go to the grocery store. They will buy the little homeopathic remedies, a little bit of mint, a little bit of sage, and some lemon juice, and make a remedy out of that for a respiratory illness. No, you can't. You can't make a little bit of mint and call it. No, these natural remedies will not work for this respiratory, this viral illness. These natural homeopathic remedies will not work. Thank you, Linda. And well as Melvin, these natural remedies will not work. They will not work. Okay, these natural remedies will not work. They will not work because this strain of the COVID-19 virus is a little bit more extreme. It is more extreme, way more extreme, and it's on a different level. So, like I was talking about before, what happens when you have organizations come together, especially players' organizations like the NFL, the football league, the basketball league, the baseball league, the hockey league, they come together because they have their unions as well as their agents, their sports agents to represent them and to protect them from any kind of financial harm. So usually the agents protect their contract as well. So if anything happens in the government or if anything happens on a national disaster, they are still able to get employed and move to another different organizations. That's why a lot of these players have sports agents to protect them and to protect their livelihood. They have unions and they have authorized representation. Now, not just legal representation, but actually management to hire them and protect their careers. They have protection. Now, a lot of the regular American public does not have access to upper class management or upper class protection or access to lawyers or access to unions or access to sports agents, modeling agents like professional athletes do. So that's why professional athletes are still able to get paid and they do not have to work, but they're still getting paid. Now, does that apply to the regular American public? No, it does not apply to the regular American public. We have to work or we will not get paid. Do you think you would give an athlete $1,000 stimulus check? No. The athlete wouldn't even talk to you. Who will talk to you? Their agent will talk to you. Their representation will talk to you. That athlete won't even look at you. That athlete won't even talk to you. They will have representation for them that will talk to you. And usually that representation has the law to back them up because it's a contract, it's a legal document. It is legal. This is a legal contract. This is a professional athlete. This is a professional player. This is a professional artist. And we have been signed by into law to protect the interests of this person. Now, it doesn't matter if there's a health global epidemic going on. We don't care. We will not let our players perform during a government health crisis. And that's what happened. The leagues actually come together, the league owners and the league's union representatives come together and say, we will not allow any one of our players to perform during a government shutdown unless you give us what we want. Or what will happen, especially what happened with Colin Kaepernick, is that the league came together and agreed with Colin Kaepernick on what he was trying to initiate, and made the league recognize that black lives were important, and being harassed by police brutality and killed. And Colin Kaepernick actually got the league to come together legally to boycott against government influence upon NBA players, as well as local people on the street, especially Black lives. But what happened with Colin Kaepernick is it turned way overboard and extreme. He protested, but guess what? He also lost his career. And he still has not been able to be employed by any other organization in the NFL. Colin Kaepernick, yeah, he's an okay football player, but he still is a millionaire dollar player, $1 million football player. Okay, even though Colin Kaepernick had all the legal representation, he has so many sports agents. The whole league was behind him. He still has not been able to find a job, get employed. The league wants him back. Yeah, the NFL wants him back, but he still is very decisive about it. He's all about the money. And that's what his management wants for him. They want the best for him. Whoever his agents, whoever Colin Kaepernick's agent, needs to let him get back in the foot and be employed back again. But the American public does not have access to resources that professional players, professional artists have. The American public does not have access to management to put to a whole union league representation that professional singers have, like professional artists. Or what happens is that a whole music label will be so good that the whole music label, the producer, the owner of the music label will have representation for every single artist on his label. So if there's a problem in government, that label owner will protect every single artist that he's signed to. And it doesn't matter if there's a government shutdown or not, that owner can back up his artist on his music label. Now, if it's a different music label, then that's what happens. That means that the owner and the producer and the record producer is not able to protect the interests of their artists because it is a legal document. It is a legal contract, especially during a government shutdown when all the music venues are shut down and nobody in any part of the world is able to perform by law, by a contract, because the venues have already been paid for. The venues have already been paid for. They have already been authorized. Okay. By law, that artist, whether they are a celebrity, $1 million celebrity or not, is legally obligated to continue to perform. And it gets really bad in the music industry where if people do not perform, and they even if they are a worldwide celebrity or not, they are still legally obligated by the contract that they signed. If they do not perform or provide services in that city or in that venue, they will either be, okay, it happens all the time. It doesn't matter if that artist is white or black, young or old, that artist will either be assaulted and beat up to bring them back into their job. And it doesn't have to be domestic violence related or not, or that artist will be jailed or sued heavily. Okay. So yes, it happens all the time. It happens all the time, all the time. Or what will happen is somebody else will take control over the ownership, the rights to the ownership of that artist. Usually it's the family. And that family will have that artist committed until their health is brought back into function for them to be able to go back and to perform a contract, a legal to be back under the legal obligations of their families of that contract. And usually when it's like that, it's either a life or death situation for the artist. The family has to protect the life of the artist from the record label. The record label is telling you, if you do not, if this artist does not perform for us, we will have them shot. So what it is, the family has to come in regards to that artist, and has to have that artist medically evaluated, and have them medically evaluated, and then for the artist to be put right back on the stage to perform. And it doesn't matter if it is a government shutdown or not. It doesn't matter if the league is on a strike or not. It doesn't matter if the other musicians are on a strike or not. That artist, under their record label, under their producer, under their legal contract, is actually obligated to perform. And you'll be surprised how many artists are. Yes, thank you. And that's what's going on right now. That's what's going on right now. That is exactly what's going on right now. It's hurting the music industry, especially. It's not hurting the sports industry. The sports industry could care less about the COVID-19 virus. That's why they have players like LeBron James and other players to come in and say, we support the initiatives behind the government. We either support it or we don't support it. And they also talk about other initiatives like Black Lives Matter. But really, LeBron James and all these other athletes are already getting paid every single day, whether they perform or not. So it really doesn't matter. They still getting paid because they have legal representation. So a government shutdown could really mean less to anything about LeBron James right now. COVID-19 could really mean anything to LeBron James right now. It's just for all these professional athletes, they just want to figure out a time for them to actually come back together and get back on the floor. But you know what? They're still going to get paid. And athletes already know it's not a sign of the devil. It's just normal times. Athletes know that. Now, when issues came about, like when it really hurts the sporting industry the most, it will cause a government shutdown, or it will cause a nationwide crisis, is when a major athlete in the league tests positive for a disease, like when Magic Johnson tested positive for HIV. Then that's when it hurt the league the worst. It's not when Kobe Bryant died. Yes, Kobe Bryant died, and everybody's sad. We understand that. Oh my God, we're sad. Kobe Bryant just died. I rest in peace. Yes, we do understand that Kobe Bryant just died. Now we have to hold a memorial service for Kobe Bryant. Yeah, we understand that. That's great. But guess what? We're still going to be on the court and we're still going to perform. But everybody's going to wear a 23 jersey. Now, when it gets worse for the athletes is when somebody in the league tests positive for HIV, or somebody in the league comes out as a homosexual, gay. Then what does that mean? Or when somebody in the league tests positive for steroids, then under obligation underneath their legal contracts, underneath the obligation and the terms and agreements behind their legal contracts, these athletes are legally obligated by law, by lawyers, and by judges to remain healthy. And if they are not healthy, if they are under the influence of anything, or if they test positive for a virus or disease, they are legally obligated to cancel their contract. Not only cancel their contract, but pay back all the money that the league gave to them. And some in times like that, the unions and their agents cannot protect the athlete. If the athlete has tested positive for steroids, or if the athlete is under the influence, or if the athlete is in a domestic violence situation like the Dallas Cowboys all the time, that's why you're not hearing anything from Jerry Jones right now. Okay, if the athlete is under the influence, or has a DWI, or is in a dog fighting incident, they are legally obligated by law to negotiate the terms of their contract. If this athlete does not get his stuff together, we are legally obligated by law to cancel your contract and to either put you in jail or you have to repay us back the money. And it doesn't matter if it is a government shutdown or a government protest or not. Especially with the Dallas Cowboys all the time. What happens is the Dallas Cowboys come together as a league, as a union, and they have their billion-dollar owner, Jerry Jones, to back them up on anything they get in trouble for. Especially with the Dallas Cowboys. So pretty much they can get away with murder, but their contracts are mainly negotiated by Jerry Jones himself and their agents. So that literally any kind of Dallas Cowboy, he can keep continually getting in domestic violence incidents. Then the news keeps reporting it, but by law and by the contract of their terms and negotiation agreements with their agent and the owner, Jerry Jones, he can pretty much tap him on the hand, sit him out for a couple of days, and put it and their contract will still they will still have the terms, and they still will have met the terms and agreement of their contract, and they will still get paid. Okay, that's why it's a little bit different between professional athletes because they have representation and lawyers and judges to back them up because the money has already been prepaid for, or they have unions to come together as a players association. And no matter what happens in government, no matter if there's a government shutdown, no matter if there's an illness anywhere around the world, the unions as well as the lawyers in the unions are able to protect the athletes. And that is something that the current administration in office does not support. He does not support unions. Because if Trump supported unions, he will not be in business today. Just on top of his hotel chain. Just on top of his hotel chain itself, the Trump hotel chain itself has had so many problems with the way they treat their construction workers and employees. Just by his business right there. He already has problems with unions just by his business. It's already been published. It's already been published from the 80s and the 90s. Okay, so again, when there is problems with the government shutdown, professional athletes already have contracts into motion where they're still going to get paid whether the government is shut down or their resources are shut down or not. Now, the only way it will, again, another issue, when it affects a professional athlete or an artist is when they have interest, when it affects their interest, or it affects a family member. Okay, it affects a family member of the artist. Okay, it affects a family member of the artist. That's it's 12 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock right now. I gotta get on to the job application. Then, when it affects the interest of a professional athlete or a professional artist, then that's when they get concerned. Or what happens is a professional athlete loses an endorsement because of their political activism. Then that's when they start to negotiate the terms of their contract. When they lose endorsements, then that's when the athlete starts getting serious. And yes, athletes will lose endorsements during government shutdowns because the administration will go to those companies that are endorsing those athletes and will say, this athlete is not doing anything about what's going on in our government. Stop your endorsement. Stop giving him money. Stop giving him free clothes. Stop endorsing him. And that company will literally stop giving money and stop providing free services to that athlete. And when that athlete loses those endorsements, then and then it could further lead to their contract being canceled due to outside influence from the government, from the current administration in office, have an influence over the companies that are endorsing these athletes. And yes, yes, you can have an athlete fired very easily, just like that. Just like that. Because athletes are under legal terms and legal contracts. That's another way. If somebody has millions of dollars and there are still professional athletes, you think, oh, you can't touch me. You can't touch me. I'm an athlete. I got money. I got lawyers. I got security. Oh, yeah, we can touch you. We can get through you. Oh, yeah, we can. Absolutely. Here. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Hi. How are you? Good morning. Yes, this is McQueen. How are you doing? Good. Good. It's good. I'm about to start in about 5 more minutes. I'm just doing a media feed right now. Let me check my email right quick. Give me a minute. Okay, thank you. Can you call me back in 5 minutes? Can you give me a call back in 5 minutes? Is that okay? Or I will give you a call back in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, great. Okay, so that's when it comes to focus, okay? Because you can hurt a professional artist that way. Thank you guys. Thank you, Facebook, for that one person. Then you can actually literally go up to somebody in the professional field and you can make even somebody like Black China who's dating, or even somebody like Rihanna. And Chris Brown said, "You can't touch me, Rihanna." Well, yes, I can. I can publish it in the press, and that will affect the people that are supporting you about what you're doing to me. Okay, that can literally affect your career if the people that are supporting you know what you're doing to me, or if the people that are supporting the current government in office and the current administration in office is losing its support not only with the public but with lobbyist groups. If these people in the public knew how much influence the government needed from outside the public citizens would go straight to Capitol Hill, go straight into the government's office buildings, and would actually figure out who is really behind the government shutdown. And then just normal people like you and me, but they're called lobbyists because they spend a lot of time and they give a lot of money to these government officials, whether these government officials are liberals or conservative. These lobbyist people and these lobbyist groups give a lot of money and financial support to these people in office, mayors, governors, presidents. They're run by lobbyists. And yes, regular, everyday American citizens have equal access to the president just as much as a lobbyist does. If a lobbyist can have access to the president, you best believe. If a media person can have access to the president to get their point across, and if a lobbyist could give money and have equal access to a president, you best believe a normal American citizen like you and me that has concern about our families and concern about our communities, we can get just as much equal access to the president. And we don't need to give you money or financial support either. And I don't have to be a person in the media, and I don't have to be a lobbyist to tell you that I want you to change the direction of the country. I don't have to be a lobbyist, and I don't have to be a person in the media. What will happen to get access to these people in office? What will happen as an American citizen? Either you're going to have to write a letter, or you're actually going to have to schedule an appointment with a representative of that person in office. And then that representative will actually try to get the point across to you through the proper channels to the president. And what will happen is that president will have to go to the different channels and the different steps in order to get your message clearly stated and clearly understood, word for word for word, everything that you said as a concerned citizen, Every single word, not anything derivative of it, but every single word that you said from their neighborhood representative, their congressional representative, to the American president, or to the queen, or to the person, tip top person in charge. And literally right now, what the internet is telling us, what all these virtual, everything's virtual now is telling us, is that you don't necessarily have to send a letter. You don't necessarily have to send an email. You don't necessarily have to go schedule an appointment with your congressman. All you have to do is go on social media, do a picture, do a post, and do a video like between you and me on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. Say any whatever you're wearing, if you're wearing a t-shirt and jeans, or whether you're dressed up and everything, you can automatically go straight to the American United to the president of the United States right here between you and me, and the president will actually be able to understand you for word, just right here between social media. And the president will get your message across from me on social media in my house, in my office, to your office in Washington, D.C., just based on the internet. You don't have to go through any other channels of communication or any other middleman to get your point across to your leader in office. Whether it's the Queen of England, whether it's the Prime Minister, you can literally go on social media any part of the world, in China, in India, in Europe, and your leader, your tip top leader in command, will actually know exactly what you mean and what you're trying to get across for you and your community and your family. And you do not have to schedule an appointment with anybody in office. You don't have to go through a middleman. You don't have to write a letter. You don't have to send an email. You don't have to get all dressed up just to meet the American president. You can actually speak to the American president on social media, like right now, between you and me. You can actually speak to a millionaire, a billionaire. You can actually speak to Mark Zuckerberg on social media. You can actually be able to communicate with Bill Gates on social media, with Jeff Bezos on social media. And then when you guys continue to establish a virtual relationship through video conferencing on social media, when you guys have a relationship that has been based by video conferencing, by virtual, then that's when you guys are actually able to establish a face to face, in person to in person relationship through the channels of communication and through emails, through phone calls, and through social media, like between YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Then from this video conferencing, from the phone calls, from the emails, then you are actually able to have an in-person appointment or an in-person interview with an American president, or with a mayor, or with a governor, or with the queen, even the Queen of England herself, or with a prince, because you guys have already established a relationship to back that up. They go through background checks, they go through emails, they go through your whole family history. They want to know if anybody in your family has been a convicted sex offender. They want to know if anybody in your family has done any crimes against children. And still on top of that, even a convicted felon is able to have a video conference with an American president. It happens all the time. And whether that American president decides to grant clemency to that convicted felon. And that's what coronavirus is teaching us as American citizens. Is teaching us that there are different ways to there are different vows of communication to get across, even if there is a global terrorism agent or not. Okay, okay, that's what coronavirus is teaching us. It's teaching us that you don't have to have clothes or money or travel to different cities or have money to do anything that you want to do. You can just do it based on free access to resources. You don't have to be a celebrity to make money. You don't have to be a celebrity to travel. You don't have to be a celebrity to have people listen to your music. You can get free access to resources and free access to communication for people to actually be able to listen to you and to get your point across. You don't have to be on TV to be on a social media, to be in media. You don't have to go through a news outlet to become a TV journalist. You don't have to go to a TV station to be on TV. There's different ways about to go about to get your ways across. And it really necessarily doesn't have to do with the internet. It just has to do that communication is improving. And that's why coronavirus has been able to be, it's affecting people, but it's still able to be controlled. But we still need to figure out a way to not take it out of range. Okay. So there's other methods to go about doing it. That's what coronavirus COVID-19 is teaching us. It's teaching us how to improve communication, even if there's a deadly health virus going on around the world. It's teaching us that even with a deadly health epidemic killing people, killing hundreds of thousands of people, and people are dropping dead on the street, you still are able to stay in your homes and get medical professional advice from a doctor on a computer screen or on your smartphone. And that doctor will provide their professional medical advice to you and tell you straight from face to face what is happening outside in the outside world as what was happening in your community face to face through a video conferencing, through a teleconference. Now, teleconferencing between a medical doctor or prescriber is still not a substitute for in-person healthcare. Don't let doctors try to persuade you that, oh, teleconferencing is the best thing. Do not let doctors try to persuade you by saying that teleconferencing is a substitute for a regular general physical, because it is not a substitute for a physical, your annual physical. Now, speaking to a doctor over the phone is still not a substitute for you actually going in person, sitting down on the medical chair, and having the doctor check your blood pressure, check your weight, do blood tests for you, okay, and actually go in there and actually check your body for diseases. Telehealth is not an excuse for getting your annual physical check. You still have to go in the doctor's offices with if you have anxiety issues or not and be seen in person. That still is not a substitute. It's still not a substitute excuse. You still have to be seen in person, face to face, blood to blood. The doctor's air is breathing on your air. Okay, you still have to be seen in person by a doctor. So there's a lot of other issues going on. Now I got one person on Facebook and I got one person on YouTube. That's usually what happens. I'm like focused on one person. Okay. So again, that's what COVID is teaching us. Now there's a lot to do. You can either have a choice to have anxiety about the issue, or you cannot be scared. But the issue is all up to you. You could choose to be dumb about it and not do anything about it and go about your natural home remedies, or you could actually go outside, go to your next door neighbor, call your doctor up, go to the hospital, get checked, and actually talk to somebody face to face about what's going on. Especially down south, they have wonderful hospitals. The health system is amazing down south. Texas, they got Baylor. They got Harris Methodist in Houston, Baylor in Dallas. What other hospitals they got down south? Florida. Florida has wonderful hospitals. California has UCLA medical system in California. Then you have the Mayo Clinic in the Midwest. You have the Cleveland Clinic in the Midwest. You have Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. You have the Penn Healthcare Center in Philadelphia. You have Rush. You have University of Chicago. You have Northwestern Hospital. So no, being down south is not as one of the best medical systems in the Midwest and down south in Texas and Florida and Atlanta. Houston Methodist Hospital, Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis. In Phoenix, there's another a satellite campus in Phoenix of the Mayo Clinic. So no, living down south is not an excuse for you to get proper health care. Don't believe that. Do not believe that. Do not believe that. Do not believe that at all. I live in Dallas. I'm scared of COVID for my life. Okay, well, don't come up here north where your family member is living. Go to Parkland in Dallas. Go to Baylor in Dallas. Get medical health care there, and then go right back to your house and go to sleep and chill. Go to Baylor Hospital. Go to Parkland Hospital. Parkland's bad, but go to Baylor. Go to a lot of other. Dallas has a great medical center too, as well as in Georgia, as well as in New Orleans. Great medical places, medical facilities, especially in Houston. Great cancer research, great medical. But you know what? Guess what the living situation, guess what the environment is like in Houston? Unless you're living in the suburbs of Houston, or unless you're staying in Houston for business, beyond that, Houston is pretty much, is not really, if you live in the suburbs or if you're going there for treatment, really, if you're a single person, Houston is probably not really good for a single person. Unless you are there for business. But beyond that, for a single person living in Houston, Texas, not for a single person. Houston is more of a family oriented city. So being a single person in Houston, Texas, and I'm unemployed and I'm single and have a couple of degrees, no, Houston would not be the place. If you are unemployed and you are single and you have no kids and you have no financial or legal obligations, go overseas. Get your passport, travel, or continue traveling, continually providing other services to other different cities that need help right now in different crises. Literally, if you are single and you have no obligations and you have degrees and experience, don't go to a protest. Don't become involved in anything legally. Travel and provide other cities with other services, which is what other cities need so desperately right now. Beyond being involved politically, yes, you can be involved politically, but go to local city officials and say, I'm in the city. I would like to provide services for you and provide services. Literally, they will pay you as a contractor or as a self-employed person. Yes, they will pay you. If you are a single person right now in the United States, you are single, you have no kids, and you have no legal or financial obligations, please best do travel. Or go to your local government and say, I would like to provide services for the community. You have no kids, no legal or financial, and you are a college graduate, or you are trying to get back in school, or you're trying to go to undergrad, you're trying to go to college, you are still a young person, you just graduated from high school, and you're going through this COVID-19 crisis right now, don't go to Miami. Do not go to Miami and party. Go to different cities across the United States, travel and volunteer your time. Don't go to Miami or California and party. Travel around the United States and actually do some volunteering activism. If you just graduated from high school, travel and volunteer. and use your time and your energy for something else to put on your resume instead of getting arrested. Okay. So yeah, there are a lot of other issues involved. Thank you, YouTube, for your time. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, LinkedIn. Thank you, Twitter, as well as Instagram. I still have a lot more to do. Today is only Monday. It is 7 more days before the Democratic National Convention. Yes, I will be in Milwaukee next week, whether they have it or that. But there are some other in Milwaukee. There's going to be some meetings, some committee meetings going on, as well as in DC, as well as there are going to be some other things going on just within the city and just within the Democratic Party in Milwaukee itself. So there's some things going on in Milwaukee. Don't let people lie to you. As well as I will be at the Republican National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. I will be providing medical services there as well as I will be in Washington, D.C. and the National March in Washington. I will be providing services for Al Sharpton and his team there as well on Friday, August 28th. So yes, I'm going to be a hot mess. I'm going to be a very hot mess, but I've got to do the work. If the time is of the essence, I am not alone. If the time is of the essence, you've got to do the work. If the time is of the essence, you've got to do the work. All right, this is McQueen for Battle First Aid Responder Services here in downtown Boston. And as well as I'm going to be, you guys already know, you guys already have my schedule. I'm going to be very busy for the next 7 days, as well as coming back to Boston and then go right back to Charlotte, going to Charlotte. From Charlotte, I'll be going to DC. And from DC, I'll come in right back here to Boston. From Boston, then that's what I'll be on the grind, applying to graduate school, applying to medical school, applying to nursing school, and then doing some more publishing, getting published, getting published. I'm not talking about like social media published. I'm actually talking about getting published in professional periodicals. Like I'm trying to get published in the Harvard Medical Review. I'm trying to get published in the Mayo Clinic. I'm trying to get published through professional medical journals to actually figure out, let people know what is really going on. I'm trying to get my name out there. And then I'll be trying to be selling some videos on Amazon and eBay too as well. So you guys want to see my face more in the next coming weeks. You'll be seeing my face more. And I'll probably be wearing more glasses too, because you'll be probably be seeing some more of this no makeup glasses girl thing. All right, guys, this is LaQueen from Battle First Aid Responder Services live here from my office in downtown Boston. I love you guys. Please continue to keep me in thoughts and prayers. Again, the Democratic National Convention is everything's going to be virtual. Okay, but don't let virtual mistake you for the in-person experience. Wherever you are, you can go to your local state committee, have a party, a Democratic party through your local state's Democratic office. If you're in Los Angeles, you can go to LA Democratic office, or if you're in Dallas, go to the Dallas Democratic building. Or if you're in DC, go to national headquarters. If you're in Chicago, go to the Democratic office Chicago. If you're here in Boston, go to the Boston office. Call them up, email these people. They need help. All right, this is LaQueen from Battle First Aid Responder Services. I love you guys. Please continue to keep me in your thoughts and prayers.